Before you start to do any editing, you need to load the data. This is done using the data loading dialog. In this dialog, you will be defining which data will be used as an editable data. There are 4 options here in the dialog. There are 2 of the models, then there is work and official data. Editable data is usually chosen between the 2 models. Here we have ECMWF and GFS as an examples. Work and official data will be referred a little bit later. The priority numbering goes so that if the data from the priority number 1 is missing, it will be replacing those time steps with priority number 2 and 3. So you choose your base model based on your knowledge. For example, in Finland, we are usually relying more on the ECMWF data. So usually we have the priority numbering 1, 2, and 3 so that all of them are in ECMWF. There are also other things in the dialog. We can see this timeline in which it's showing you which data it's using. Now that we're having all the priority dots on ECMWF data, we only see red timeline. If we would miss some data in ECMWF and the priority number 3 is, for example, on GFS, we would see green dots in the middle. Also, there are options to do some time interpolation or extrapolation, set time, and so on, but these things should be done on the server, so don't touch these. When you have done choosing your data priorities, you can click OK. And the priority number 1 data would be becoming to the black data, so the editable data. So in this case, with this kind of priority settings, my black data would be completely and totally from the ECMWF model. Of course, I can refer to all the different models when I'm doing editing, but for now, my base data would be 100% from the ECMWF. If you're getting this data loading warning dialog, it's saying that the chosen data is incomplete. It means that SmartMed is doing some extrapolation to fill those missing time steps. So it just might be that the data is a little bit shorter than it should be, and that's why it's doing some extrapolation on the end of the data, for example. If you approve this, you can click Continue. Now that I clicked Continue, you can actually see how the data is exactly the same as the ECMWF data. So the black data is here on the main map view, so it's the editable data. And if you look at this, it looks exactly the same as the one data on the right hand side, which is ECMWF. So this confirms the fact that the data I could start manipulating here on the left is actually exactly the same as ECMWF data. I can modify this data by referring to different models, and in that way I can mix the information that different models have. But to this part we will come a little bit later. When you are trying to run a script, you might get an error message like this, which says current edited data is not editable. It means that you haven't loaded the data just yet through the data loading dialog, so SmartMed doesn't know which data it should handle. So it also says you should do the data loading properly. Press Load Data button after pressing OK button here. So we click OK, and then we go to the data loading dialog, which opens like this. We just choose ECMWF, or you choose any model to be the background model and click OK. After this, when you are trying to run the script again, it should work just fine. Whenever you're doing editing, it is very, very important to remember to save your doings once in a while. SmartMed is doing auto-saving of your process, of course, so that if SmartMed crashes, for example, you can always open SmartMed again and come back where you were left. But it's also very advisable to do it yourself. And that's why there is the button showing this floppy disk icon, and it says Save Data. So when you click it, it asks you, do you want to save changes to your work file? And then you click yes. Now that you clicked Save Data, it means that it's saved locally on your computer. If your computer breaks down during your editing, then the data would be lost, because it's just at the moment locally on your computer. And if you now need to select this data, so we can imagine that our SmartMath crashed, and I want to start working again with this data that I have done some modifications to already. So I open the data dialog again. I choose this work data. This timeline is becoming blue, and then I click OK. This data is the one that is now saved locally onto computer. So if you have done already some changes, you don't have to start from the scratch. So you're going to use your work data, and then you click OK, and everything you have done so far, or everything that was done before the SmartMath crashed, will be here again, and you can continue where you left. There is also an option to choose from, which is official data. So you know that work data is now locally saved on your computer. Official data is the one on the database. So it's really like it says, official data that is then used in your final products. And usually your data becomes official data after you send it to the database and the automation is done. So if your computer crashes, you can always come back to the official data because it's already in the world, it's already on the server, so it's not saved locally anymore. And you can also see official data from your SmartMath. So if I go to another row number, I take row number 2 and I right click and add operational data. It's the same as official data. And if I here add, for example, precipitation intensity, here you can see what it looks like. So this is the one currently in the database, and the one on the first row that I'm changing to now is the latest edited data. But it's still on this computer because I haven't sent it to anywhere. So the one on the row number 2 in pink color is the official data that all the automated products are made from. And the one on the row number 1 is actually the edited data that I'm manipulating now. You can see that there are some differences, and it completely makes sense because in this official data, different models are already being used. And here in this edited data, I haven't done any changes to this just yet. When you're doing editing, one of the most important things is to fix the time length that you are doing the edition to. And that's the orange bar you can see on the timeline. It's actually ending when the data is ending. So this is the whole 10 days I have here at the moment. And if I want to change the length of that, I can do that by clicking Ctrl Shift and left clicking to choose the starting point, and Ctrl Shift right clicking to choose the ending point. And now all the additions that I would do would be done only to this time on the timeline. So if I want to increase precipitation intensity by 10 millimeters per hour, it wouldn't do it anywhere else except for this orange range. Usually when I see people doing editing, and if they happen to do some mistakes, it's usually related into this orange bar. Because before every editing, you need to decide to which time you are doing the editing to. If you want to do the editing to the whole 10 days again, you can click these very small orange arrows on the bottom left corner. So when you click it, it will extend the orange bar to fill the whole editing area again. So Ctrl Shift left, Ctrl Shift right. When you have done the whole editing procedure, you will have to send the data to database. And that is done by clicking here this icon which says Send to Database. I click that, and a pop-up window like this will open. You will have to choose your forecaster ID, and you can use this by the settings value, and then click OK. After that, you need to wait for a while while SmartMet is preparing your data to be sent to the database. After you have done that and the data is being sent, you can see orange timestamp on this corner with the timestamp in UTC time when the data has been sent from SmartMet.